Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to make your own sourdough starter. And you might wonder what that is. Well, normally when you bake a bread you use regular yeast. So the store-bought breads that you can find have normal yeast in it. But you can also create your own wild yeast that exists already in flour. And the nice thing about this is that all you need is very basic ingredients, which is flour and water. And then you can create these beautiful looking breads from scratch. And they have very simple ingredients. So this bread only has salt, water, the sourdough starter that I'm going to show you how to make, and flour in it, and water. Did I already say that? So of course you can just buy your bread in the store, but I think it's very good to realize how things are made in general, where they come from. And overall, if you buy a bread from the store, like especially the flappy, terrible Dutch bread, they have a ton of ingredients in there that shouldn't really be in there. And so this way you can make this very simple but absolutely delicious bread that doesn't have any of the weird additives in there. So making a sourdough is actually really easy, but taking care of it is a little bit more difficult, and then baking the bread is a whole different ball game. And I also very much recommend that you watch other videos online of actually professional bakers that know how to do this, because I've just been screwing around in my kitchen, but I've been relatively successful, I think. So all you need is like a Kilner jar. So it's best to get something that closes off very well, so it's completely airtight, so that no air gets in. Scales, preferably digital, but it's fine for the sourdough starter. If you do it another way, of course you can mess around with cups and so on, which would do fine as well. And you need flour, and this is quite important because what you use, preferably you get some good organic stuff. And there's the Gimsel, the organic supermarket close to UC has this, but also there's a mill in Delfshaven that actually sells these kind of bigger bags. I use wholemeal flour. So yeah, it's hard to see here, but it's not the white stuff. It still has the bits of I don't even know what they're called, like the outer core of wheat in them. I also use a bit of rye because this is quite sour and it really helps the sourdough. But you can also just use the wholemeal. So to make your own starter, all you need to do is add equal parts of both the flour and some water into a Kilner jar. So that's what I'm going to do. So I always use 75 milliliters of water. And 75 grams of the flour. And that's all. And you need a spoon, obviously. So if you've added this and you stir it really well so there's no clumps of flour left, and then you're just gonna stir. And then you're gonna find a nice warm place in your house or in your room. And with warm, I don't mean in the sun or on a heater, because then it gets too hot. And for about 5 days, each day you're going to feed your sourdough starter. Because it actually is alive, or it will become alive. It'll start breathing and creating bubbles. And you'll get to know it really well as well. That's the part of taking care of the sourdough. So you close it. So I wouldn't put it here in the sun, but I would put it in the shade somewhere. And then tomorrow we'll feed it the same. So I'll feed it, again, 75 grams of flour and 75 milliliters of water. And I'll do that for 5 days. And then very slowly you start to see air pockets in the mush. And after about 5 days, what you can do is put it in the fridge, which is its kind of second home. Because there the process and the bacteria will start to develop further, but not so fast, because it needs kind of 3 weeks before it works really well. And then it really becomes alive. And then if you want to use it, you take it out of the fridge, you feed it again, and it starts bubbling, and it really rises up to the top of the jar. And then at one point you have to watch a lot of videos on how to make the bread, and then you create something like this. You can also sometimes get sourdough starters to kind of get started like a little bit from a bakery, and if things get back to normal you can always ask me as well, so I can give you a bit of my starter. And I think these are the basics. Like I said, please watch videos of people who actually know how to do this. And there's a lot online. I think there's a bakery, and I'll share the link later. There's a bakery in England that for the lockdown, they created the 6-step how to bake your own sourdough bread kind of course on Insta. So that would be nice to check out, but there's a lot of videos out there. So good luck, and I'd like to see your results if you ever get to that point. Bye!